Oh, yeah. It's Friday night. Give me 30 seconds. Let's get going. Yes. Oh, man, it's Friday night. I'm going to break down every single game for you. By the way, check out my video. I reveal my weekly bets pick. I put my money where my mouth is. Plus, Denver Gator has some college football action, which I think is really cool. Since I made that video, I made one other bet, and I'm going to reveal that on the show today. I'm going to use StreamYard. StreamYard. I'm going to use all the DraftKings stats. And also Thursday night, man, what a great game. Shaquille Barrett for Tampa Bay is one of my favorite players. He's out for the year. That was kind of my biggest takeaway. I know Tampa Bay lost. I was on the fence. I just really wanted to see a good game. But, man, it's a tough one. That was a tough one. One of my favorite players out for the year. It's hard to believe that the Atlanta Falcons, we're about halfway through the season, the Atlanta Falcons are in first place. And they play Carolina. The winner of that game has a chance to advance to the playoffs. Who would have thought? Yeah, an energy drink, so I'm going to be jacked up. Cliff, what is up, brother? Cliff, hopefully you don't mind I reveal that you are picking the Lions. I'm floored by that, to be perfectly honest with you. Is that your pick that you were talking about Tuesday? Is that your surprise pick, the Lions plus 3.5? We'll talk about it. We will talk about it, man. I'm glad you're here, brother. For those of you that don't know, it was actually a pretty decent game. Baltimore beat Tampa Bay. I had a problem with Amazon Prime because I like to use the DVR version. I missed like the last 5 minutes of the show. The last 5 minutes of the game. So that was your surprise pick. We'll go over that. During the show today, I'm going to reveal the 3 games that I bet on. I actually made 2 bets on one game. So, let's get going here. We do got a London game. Denver travels to Jacksonville. Jacksonville's a 2.5 point favorite. This is a very important game. Jacksonville started season 2-1. A lot of people thought that they were actually a good team. Losers of 4 straight. It's almost good that this is a team that's not playing well because I think Jacksonville, if they were doing well, a lot of people would be misinformed. This is a team I think this year isn't going to be very good. Next year could be pretty good. I tried warning people Denver wasn't going to be that good this year. However, people didn't listen. I didn't think they would be 2-4 bad. I mean, that is their record, right? 2-4? No, 2-5. 2-5. So you have, even though it's 2 bad teams, they're both teams that really need a win. Now, personally, I think with Jacksonville, if they lose, they're going to be okay because they're kind of in rebuild mode. They got a young quarterback. Travis Etienne, even though he was drafted in the first round last year, he didn't play at all. So he was injured. So, I mean, that's kind of what I'm looking at. Is it's okay if Jacksonville loses this game. It's not okay if Denver loses this game. Denver, I think everybody's on the hot seat right now in Denver. So, it's going to be it's actually kind of an important game because I think the loser is even though it's halfway through the season, the loser's out of it, especially if it's Denver, a 2-6. Tell you the truth, I don't think there's any way Denver can win the West. I really don't. They would have to have some crazy things would have to happen, including sweeping Kansas City, which I don't think will happen. But at 2-6, there's almost no chance they can get back into the playoffs. With Jacksonville, even though there's no chance of them getting to the playoffs because they're a young team, first year head coach. On both teams have first year head coaches, but expectations for Hackett was a lot higher than Peterson. So I like Denver in this game. You get 2.5 points, home field advantage in London. I'm kind of surprised that the odds makers are making Denver the underdog. I think Russell Wilson is going to play. So, yeah. Ravens, man, good win for the Baltimore Ravens. Hey, man, I'm glad to have you here, brother. I'm actually born in Baltimore, but I'm showing my age a little bit. I used to watch Baltimore Colts play. So, I mean, I don't call them my second favorite team, but I do still have family in Baltimore. So, man, I'm glad to have you here, man. We need more Ravens fans here. So, man, I'm really glad you're here. Thank you. And, man, I'm really glad. Hopefully you get some good information. The way the show works is that if you have a question, I have an answer. Basically, you talk and I'll listen, man. I let the comments kind of dictate the way things go, but I am going to break down every single game. James, welcome, brother, man. A win versus Miami would be nice. That's going to be a fun game. I'm going to skip this one and I'm going to go straight to Miami at Detroit. Miami's a 3.5 point favorite. This is a big game for both teams. Now, if you didn't watch the Dallas versus Detroit game, Detroit really should have won this game. If you look at the box score, you see 24-6. Here's what happened. The score is 10-6. They actually scored a touchdown. It was a bad call, but Dan Campbell didn't challenge the play, and he would have won that challenge. The very next play, they fumbled. He lost his composure. The team fell apart. I really think that if they lose big to Miami, and I think that's a very strong possibility, you have to start looking at putting Campbell on that hot seat. Here's the problem. That when Campbell lost his composure, I think everything that you saw at Hard Knocks just kind of went out the window. I think the team saw that this is not a guy who's a good head coach. And I really think that everybody's on the hot seat. And I don't think it's just the coaching staff. I think it's the GM. I think everybody could be gone. This has the potential to be a really bad game because I really want to see is Detroit, because after Campbell lost his composure, the team lost their composure. The team fell apart. Is this team looking at this coach going, he's not a good coach. He's not going to be here next year. I'm just going to play for myself. That happens a lot more than you think when there's a lame duck coach. And I want to see, are the Lions going to rally or are they going to fall apart? Because if Campbell keeps his composure, they're in that game. Maybe they win, maybe they don't. Who knows? If he makes the right call, if he challenges, they're up 13-10 in a game that they were very much in the fourth quarter. He loses his composure. The team falls apart. I like Miami in this one. I hate the hook. Anytime you got 3.5, I hate it with a passion. I'm avoiding this game. I really want to pay attention. Are the Lions done with Campbell? Because that was the first time I've seen Campbell kind of lose his cool, and it really feels like this guy is not cut out to be an NFL head coach. Several of them were in the fourth quarter. I think 3 of them were, if I remember right. That turnover late in the fourth quarter, it shouldn't have happened because he scored the touchdown. Whoever was in charge of telling Campbell, hey, you got to challenge this, didn't do his job right, because they should have at least looked at that way. Because here's the deal. Let's say it doesn't even work. You take a timeout and you get everybody kind of on the same page. But instead they rushed, they fumbled, and it was really bad because after that play, Campbell completely falls apart. The team just loses confidence in him. That's what I was trying to say. I really do feel bad for the Lions fan. I feel Dan Campbell's a good coach. I think he'd be great in college. I don't think he's a good NFL coach. I don't think he's a good NFL coach. If you watch Hard Knocks, all that rah-rah shit doesn't work in the NFL. All right? All that rah-rah shit does not work in the NFL. All right? Look at any good NFL coach, they don't do that rah-rah shit. That rah-rah shit works in college. It works in high school. It doesn't work in the NFL. And when he lost his composure, I think everybody in that team kind of looked at him and said, this guy's not really our guy. This guy isn't it. Dan Campbell's, if Dan Campbell gets fired, I would love for him to come and be a tight end coach, assistant head coach. But I don't think he's a good head coach. I think he's a great position coach. I mean, there's probably not a better tight ends coach in the NFL. I would love to see him coach tight ends. I think he'd be great on the college level. That Wisconsin job, that might be a great job for him. I want to see how they rebound, because I could see this getting ugly. I could see it being something like 41-7. I really could. I think there's hope resting. That's another thing. And I blasted the Lions when they had to draft. Why draft a guy who's not going to be able to play till halfway through the season when you need help now? George Pickens, who looks phenomenal. You could have had him at 30. So here's the deal. The Lions traded 32, 34, 46 for, what was it? 12. And I got all my draft stuff here. What was it? 12 and 46. All right. You could have drafted George Pickens and Kenneth Walker, and then the rest of your draft would have been the same. Jameson Williams, it's halfway through the season. He's not able to play. And, you know, Amon-Ra is going to play. DeAndre Swift's going to play. We'll see how things go. But this is a big game. This is, you got to keep your composure. When he fell apart, the team fell apart. So that's why this is a huge game for Detroit, because it's at home. Miami's a kind of an up and down team. So it's a big game. It's a big game. I think it's all just a roll. The draft, kind of, sort of. I mean, you know, it's not a roll of the dice to draft a player who you know is not going to be able to play. I mean, there was no secret that he was not going to play for about half the year. That's not a roll of the dice. That's just a bad GM. And that's kind of why I think that the GM is on the hot seat, because there's a lot of good rookies right now. And matter of fact, the Lions got a couple of them. Pascal played really good. Your 6th round pick starting linebacker. That's a good pick. I'm drawing Martinez. I want to say, I'm drawing a blank on his name. By the way, Ravens, be more. I have a really bad habit. I'm bad with names. It's funny. I can tell you he played at Oklahoma State. I can tell you he was 6th pick in the draft. I can tell you he's number 44. I'm drawing a blank on his name. So this is a big game for Detroit. Next game, and this line's been bouncing up and down. Chicago at Dallas. Right now it's 10. I actually bet on this game, a small bet. I took Chicago to cover 9.5, and then it jumped up to 10.5. So I got 9.5 and 10.5. Right now it's 10. It's in Dallas. I think Dallas probably wins this game. I don't see them winning by more than a touchdown. I think this has got like 17-14, 20-14, something like that written all over. I think it's a low-scoring game. Both teams got good defenses. Ezekiel Elliott's questionable. Robert Quinn was traded by the Bears this week. I know Roquan Smith was really devastated about it. But here's the thing. He had 1 sack. He set a Bears record last year of 18.5, but he only had 1 sack this year. They got some young players in Chicago. The defense is playing good. It's just the offense has just been, if they play like they did against New England, they're going to win a lot of games. I'm not 100% sold on Dallas, but I'm pretty sure, like if I was just saying, hey, who's going to be the winner, I'd probably go Dallas. 9.5 is a big number, so it's 10.5. I got both, so that's kind of my pick. Next game, I got Pittsburgh at Philly. Philly's a 10.5 point favorite. And if you're new to my channel, Jalen Hurts is my MVP so far. If I had to vote MVP, it's Jalen Hurts. The Eagles, I think, are the best team in football. I love the way his team's built. Great defense, great running game, MVP at quarterback, some good weapons. 10.5 point favorite. Pittsburgh comes to town. I would probably take Pittsburgh. I think it's going to be a much closer game than you think. I really do. Steelers backs up against the wall. 10.5 is a big number. However, Philly looks really, really good. Looks really, really good. My boy Tim. What's up, man? What do you think the Bears need to get back to their glory days? Well, I think they got everything. Number one, you need a coach. You need a coach. Nagy wasn't it. Nothing against Nagy. He wasn't it. Eberflus, I think that's the guy's name. Let's see if he's it. That's part of it. All right. Because you have to realize when he came in, they changed the offense. They changed the defense. They're changing personnel. And so you have to have the right guy coach. I think that's important. And the one thing they haven't had in a long time is quarterback. You need some stability. Justin Fields doesn't have to be a superstar. That defense is really, really good, especially if you keep Roquan Smith. I was chatting back and forth on Twitter with Keys, and I think that we were talking back and forth about some guy who I blocked because he's an idiot. Posted something about Roquan Smith being bad on play action and some bullshit. He was just trying to sometimes people try to use these analytics or stats to try to make themselves seem smart when really it's just clickbait bullshit. So that's what that guy sent him. And Keys loves analytics. So he's like, oh man, Dan, check this out. And I'm like, oh, this guy's a clown. Just throws some trash. He's like, no, I wonder how does he get these numbers? And I was like, dude, I ignore that shit. Roquan Smith is my defensive player of the year on defense. And defensive player of the year, defensive MVP. If he doesn't get signed by Chicago, then you got to replace Roquan Smith. But if the Bears can keep him, the defense is fine. Justin Fields has to improve. And it seems like Eberflus is the right guy, man. I mean, he's changing a lot of stuff, but the Bears are not doing bad, man. When a team loses a road game, then as a home dog, they're covering it. This is gold, man. This is gold. This is gold. I did not know this. I'm really glad. This is kind of why I created this channel. Is I wanted to get information like this. I'm bookmarking it. This is fun. Matter of fact, you know what? I am not only just going to bookmark it. Let me see here. I am actually going to, I wonder if I can just copy and paste this. You know what? I'm going to save it because I didn't know that. Cliff, I didn't know. And this is why I created channels. I wanted to get information like this. I like to think that I know a lot about football. I do consider myself a football expert. However, I don't know everything. And I definitely don't know everything about 32 teams. Like Ravens be more. I want to know what's really going on with Baltimore, man. I mean, you tell me. I mean, I don't live in Baltimore. I have family in Baltimore, but I don't know what's really going on inside of Baltimore. I would love to know what Ravens fans think about Lamar Jackson in this contract. I would love to get that opinion. I'd love to know stuff like this. Cliff, comment of the day so far, man. I don't have a prize to give you, but I started to comment. So hopefully that means something to you. Next game, Arizona at Minnesota. Minnesota's a 3.5 point favorite. This is a game that I really don't have a clue on, to be perfectly honest, because I thought Arizona was going to be a little better. They're beat up. Is Minnesota for real? They're coming off of a bye. They got a first-time head coach. Here's the question: is Matt LaFleur, the coach for Green Bay, 13-3 his first 3 years? But after a bye, his first 2 years, they were blown out. The third year, they played the Bears, a bad Bears team, and they finally won. So you never really know. You never really know that how a rookie coach is going to react after a bye. So that's why I would not bet this game, because a lot of teams handled the bye weeks differently. Andy Reid's very good against a bye. Matt LaFleur, like I mentioned, great success, but after a bye, he's not very good. So I would not advise betting this game. If I had to pick a number, both defenses are kind of struggling right now. Over unders 49. I got a feeling this could be a shootout. I'd probably take the over. I'm not doing a lot of overs, but that's kind of what I would look at. Leaning towards Minnesota. Man, I hate 3.5. It was taken away from you because it's under your old name. Because you changed your name, you don't get the wrench. Hold on here. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second. I think I can. Tell you the truth, I can't believe says message retracted. I wonder what you said there. You know what? I have no idea how to. It used to be a lot easier. I would love to give you your wrench back. To be honest with you, man, I actually don't remember how to do that. I'm actually really embarrassed right now because it used to be. Let me know. I did something right there. Let me know. I just did something right there. Yeah, I think you got a wrench now. I think they've changed it. So, yeah, I get distracted easy sometimes. All right. Next up is one of my favorite games, a game I am really, really looking forward to. The New England Patriots at New York Jets. And New York Jets are a 2.5 point home dog. I did some in-game betting with DraftKings on Monday night and lost. I was firmly convinced New England was going to turn around and win this game. I was floored when they lost this game. So I wonder how they're going to bounce back. Are they going to bounce back pissed off, or is this just not a good team? I don't know, man. The Jets are such a fun team, but they didn't lose just one star. They lost Elijah Vera-Tucker. That people are kind of overlooking that. He was their first round pick 2 years ago, starting guard since day one, a really, really good football player. He may be their best offensive lineman. He's out for the year, plus Breece Hall's out. Those are two big losses. I'll be honest with you. If you're a fantasy football guy, or you're kind of a normal sports fan, and you look at this, the big loss is Breece Hall. When I look at it, I think Elijah Vera-Tucker, that's the big loss. That's the loss. I'm like, man, because he's probably your best offensive lineman. Now you're going against a pissed off New England team. I'm leaning towards Patriots making a comeback here. I've seen people I respect go both ways on this. But yeah, it's a tough one, man. It's a tough one. So, okay, Cliff, that's how you do it. I got you. You got your wrench back, man. You want your wrench back? You got it. You earned it. You earned it. When you post shit like this, you get a wrench. By the way, if you want a wrench, give me a reason. Give me a reason. If it's a good one, you get a wrench. Cliff, by the way, Cliff used to have a wrench. He changed his name. So I'm not going to tell you what your old name was. I'm not going to share that with anybody. Denver Gators in the house. What's up, football nerds? Denver Gator, man. Denver Gator, by the way, is betting everything he owns on a 4-game parlay on college football. A 4-way parlay. Betting everything. He has 4 games this week, and it was funny. Like, we didn't talk about it too much on the video, but we went into. So, like, what happens is Thursday night after football, me and Denver Gator get together. We talk about some games. We talk football, politics, art, history. No, it's basically dirty teams, dirty jokes, basically. But he mentioned these 4 games, and he put them out. And there's only one of them I'm kind of like I'm on the fence about, but the other 3 are really good. But watch video. It's a great video. Links in the description. Hey, girl TV. Hello. I did not expect you to be in here. I don't want to go on too much of a rant, but you know what? I don't have a link of your channel in the description. However, if you put a link to your channel in the chat, you have a great bunch of people in here, and they would be more than happy to subscribe to your YouTube channel. I cannot promise that they are going to subscribe, but for the most part, you got some really solid people. So put a link to your YouTube channel. I didn't expect you to be here, so I don't have one, but put a link in the comments of your YouTube channel, and everybody please subscribe to Hey Girl TV. So Funk's in the house, man. What's good, y'all? Dice here. Dan says he watches. Oh man. You know, man, you might have to watch the video. I'll give you a hint. I'll give you one. His name's Denver Gator, and it's world's largest outdoor cocktail party. And Denver Gator obviously takes the Georgia Bulldogs. So yeah, no, he's got 4. Let me see if I remember. I want to tell you. Do watch the video. It really helped me out. But he's got Georgia. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry, Denver Gator. Florida, 22.5, plus 22.5. TCU, which I'm on the fence about, but he likes TCU at West Virginia, 7.5. They're favored by 7.5. He thinks they'll cover. Ohio State to cover 14.5. And the game that I like the best is USC, covering 15. All of, well, except for Georgia and Florida, all of them are road favorites. So, but yeah, he's got Florida. That's the other one because they play in Jacksonville. So. You said you were going on. I had to. Hey, thank you so much. She said she's coming back, but yeah. Denver Gator's probably throwing something at me right now, so I apologize. He's probably pissed at me right now, but yeah, he's actually got some good stuff. He's got some good stuff this week. I didn't want to put all the details into the video because I tried to make my picks videos relatively short, but I think those are the 4 games. He had a lot of compelling reasons to all of those games that we did not put into the video. But Cliff, I don't know if you follow me on Twitter. I know Pete does. I messaged him. I tried to get him to come on about about Tua. And he didn't get my message. And like a couple weeks later, it's like, Dan, I just got this. And I was like, do you want to come on and talk about Tua? And he hasn't offered yet. But yeah. All this French talk has me thinking we're a scene from Good Will Hunting. I'm trying to think of what you've seen. I'm here. YouTube let you leave without knowing. Let you leave without leaving. Who knew? All right. Didn't know that, but do me a favor, drop a link to your YouTube channel in the comments, and everybody who's in, please follow Hey Girl TV. So she's nice enough to follow, and she's a very attractive young lady. So let's. I apologize. We didn't mean to be offensive, but I mean, you know, pictures there. I mean. All right, Raiders at the Saints. The Saints are a 1-point home dog. This is a big one because the Raiders, if they want to get back into playoff contention, I still think they're second best team in the AFC West. Whether they win, whether they lose, it doesn't matter. But it's tough because they're 2-4 in the AFC West. All right, they're 2-4 in the AFC West. The Saints, whether they win or whether they lose, they're still in the hunt. They could be 2-6, and they're still in the hunt in that terrible NFC South. But with both teams having 2 wins, it's a big game. it's a big game because the loser is behind the eight ball, especially for the Raiders, not so much for the Saints, because that the winner of that terrible division could be a 6-7 win team. I'm serious. 6-11 may win that terrible division. I'm not joking. It's that bad. I like the Raiders here. I like the Raiders. All right. I like the Raiders. Bottom line, I think they're a lot better than people think. I really do. The Saints are beat up. I think they're going with Andy Dalton again. Olave is, oh God, you know what? I apologize. The other receiver, I think Michael Thomas is out. Was with Miami, was with Cleveland, played at LSU. Anyway, they got some injuries. The Raiders are riding Josh Jacobs over the last 3 weeks. He's been the best running back in the NFL. It's hard to believe. But yeah, he's been the best running back in the NFL for the last 3 weeks. He's just been playing lights out. It's absolutely amazing what he's done. I really like the Raiders. I think the Raiders are really starting to get on track here. Jarvis Landry. I'm so sorry. I'm bad with names, folks. I'm bad with names. Funk, that's awesome, man. I appreciate it. You're doing me a favor. She's subbed to my channel. She's here joining. Yeah, man. I can't believe I forgot the name. So, Cormina McLean, probably the best defensive high school recruit in the country, stiffed the Gators for the. Oh my God. This guy may be mad about it. Seriously, that's big news because that's one thing Miami's been doing lately is not getting those recruits. And it was funny. Me and Denver Gator talked about it because the coach for Florida, I thought they should have got a bigger name guy. And he's like, no, I love this guy. And I was like, yeah, but can he recruit? Is he going to get these players? And that's the big key because in the SEC, you got to have – listen, in the SEC, if you have between a 23 and a 27, if you're picking, you have the 25th ranked recruiting class in the country, it's not good enough. It's really not good enough. You need a top 15 class to compete in the SEC. You really do. It sounds crazy, but who's 1, 2, and 3? And it doesn't matter who you go through. The top 3, A&M, Alabama, Georgia. A&M, by the way, even though they're not winning games, like they have a ton of young future NFL talent in that team. Some of those guys may transfer, but seriously, I cannot understate how big this is. Because this is I didn't know this. This is a 5-star player. Probably a 5-star player, I'm assuming. I mean, if he's ranked that high, this is a big deal because I don't know if Florida is capable with the new head coach that they got, if he's going to be able to get a top 10, top 15 class, which you need in the SEC in order to compete. Now, the Miami Hurricanes, on the other hand, they a guy like this in the ACC, they don't need a top 10, 15 class to compete in the ACC. Matter of fact, they could roll out with a top 40 class, and with 1 or 2 really good players, they can win 9, 10 games in the ACC. Yeah, so anyway, yeah. It's not hard. It's not hard to believe that Josh is running strong. Dude, yeah, I've always liked Josh Jacobs. This has been always one of my favorite players. He's going to be a free agent after the year, and it's going to be interesting to see because he wasn't used much in college, and the Raiders really didn't feature him his first couple of years. So he's even though he's been in the NFL 4 years, he's got a lot of wear and tear. It'll be very interesting to see where he goes because this is a guy that I think could go and be one of the 10 best running backs in the National Football League. It'll be interesting because would you pay a guy like this? I remember they gave Melvin Gordon a 2-year, $16 million deal, $8 million a year, and I think he's better. I seriously think he's worth, 10, maybe even 12 million a year. It'll be interesting. Very, very interesting. Oh yeah, any player, any player in that area, any great defensive player, and seriously, here I'm going to tell you exactly what Nick Saban does on his recruiting trips. He says the average. I figured this out once. The average starter at Alabama makes over $9 million a year. A couple of years ago, I figured it out. The average starter on the Alabama defense used to make over $8 million. I think the number's 9. And that's your recruiting pitch. If you're a defensive starter at Alabama, the average salary is $9 million in the pros. That's hard to ignore. So, I mean, whatever Miami did to get him was amazing. I mean, that's phenomenal. This is very interesting. I was raised by a single mother, so I don't have a team and need to choose one. Well, almost everybody here is a Chiefs fan, the Kansas City Chiefs, but I love the whole point of me creating this channel is to take 32 different fan bases. I want to know what everybody thinks from 32 different fan bases. So you don't have to have a team. If you like football, you can just watch football. You can do a variety of different things. Normally, I don't reveal where you're from. I think I know, but where you're from in your area, you have a local team. As a matter of fact, I'm almost positive I know where you're from. So if I'm correct, you live in a city that has an NFL team, that should be your team, or in a close proximity. So I subscribe to you on social media. So if I remember right, you're either in or next to an NFL city. So Miami can play all the players they want. They can suck. Okay, okay. All right. One Pride 40's in the house. What's up, brother, man? Your boy looks really good, man. I did not think he would look that good. Did not think he was going to look that good. Kenneth Walker looks like a stud. I'm going to record the games. All right. I would not be surprised. No, we're going to do, you know this, we're going to do lots of draft stuff. And when the draft comes out, we are, right now, my number one pick is CJ Stroud. All right. That's going to be number one. All right. That's going to be number one. If you don't pick number one or you don't trade up to number one, Bryce Young will probably be the guy that a lot of people are looking at. I want to see what he looks like at the combine because their numbers are all over the place. I'm hearing 5'11". I'm hearing 6'2". I'm hearing 195. I'm hearing 210. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if he's 6 foot, 190, 195, do you really want to draft him? Actually, okay, so I actually thought she lived in Dallas. So her and Alex would be big time. There's a couple guys they used to come on with me that are Arizona Cardinals fans. So, but I have no idea if Surprise, Arizona is anywhere near the Phoenix area. I've driven to Vegas several times. I love Arizona. I love Southern Utah, New Mexico. Love that area. So. Oh man, thank you, Denver Gator, man. That is awesome. Lions may possibly upset. They need to. I'll be honest, I really like Miami here. I wonder, here's the thing. Here's the deal. I want to know because after Campbell fell apart, the whole team just seemed to kind of quit on him. And I wonder if the team quit on him. And I really need to see that because that's going to be big. Lots of Lions fans here. Cliff bet his entire life savings on Miami. Rookie. Yeah. Seriously, I mean, dude, you realize how impressive that is considering originally when they drafted him, he was going to be third string. Carson retires. Penny gets injured, and now he looks like a monster. I mean, he looks like a monster. I had no idea he was this good. I really didn't think he'd be this good in the pros. I really didn't. He looks amazing. Like I'm seriously, I'm geeked out about this next game. I can't wait to watch him again. Seriously. Young used to play with Amon Ra and played with J-Mo and you know what? I forgot about that. I mean, I should know, but I mean, I forgot about that. No, he's not. And that's another thing. A lot of people are really overlooking the fact that this is not a mobile quarterback. And I kind of don't want to touch base on it, but a lot of people assume that he's a mobile quarterback. How do I say? You know, I don't want to get canceled off the air, but I mean, I'm gonna say a lot of times you see a black guy playing quarterback and you assume he's mobile. Well, Stroud's not. He's not a mobile dude, and he doesn't have that big arm either. But he would be my number one pick. So I don't follow baseball, but you know, Alex is not here, so you know, that would explain it. Hopefully, for Alex's sake, hopefully Houston wins, and because Philly will burn the city to the ground. And Bob goes back to the NFL. Young. Okay, so good. I'm stealing this from Good Morning Football. So Good Morning Football said that Bill O'Brien, if he takes over at Carolina, he would do it only because he could take Bryce Young. Apparently, they have a great relationship. And so Good Morning Football said, yeah, if you have number one pick in the draft, take Bill O'Brien, bring his quarterback. And this makes sure that his learning curve is not that bad, because they're going to basically run the same offense that they run at Alabama. So he would be able to, you know, kind of hit the ground running. And there is some talent in Carolina. Plus, they have a lot of draft picks. So if Bill O'Brien does go to Carolina and he gets Young, that would make a lot of sense. He actually is mobile. He just doesn't want to run. It's actually, if he is mobile, but he doesn't want to run, it's a fantastic quality. I don't think he's really all that mobile. A lot of people thought Dwayne Haskins was a mobile guy. No, he's not. He never was. So this is a good one. I do think he's going to be number one pick in the draft. Yeah. If you're in Arizona, you got Squall. So yeah. Denver Gator, Cliff said he's going to bet his entire life savings on Georgia to win by 50. So you knew you did. Just like I was right when I told you Stafford would go for 2 number ones, and you said a third round pick. So this is, by the way, that was a joke. That was a joke. I said third round pick. He said 2 number ones. The team didn't quit on Dan. The offense had 5 turnovers in the second half. Defense didn't give up. They're dead ass tired. It kind of looked like they quit on me. I'll defer to you. I'm just saying, when I saw him lose his composure, the team lost its composure. They were right. You know, they gave up a couple touchdowns. We're going to have to find out, because if they lose this game big, everybody could be fired soon. Everybody could be fired. This is an important game. That's so. Yeah, Cliff actually has 3.5. Yeah. You know, it's funny because I forget. I was talking. I forget who it was I was talking with, but we were talking about like different eras and different players, and could a guy like with Dan Marino be as successful in today's game? What about a guy like Dan Fouts? Could Dan Fouts play in today's game? You know, for those of you do not know who Dan Fouts is, Dan Fouts had a beer gut, this Grizzly Adams beard, and was the best passer you've ever seen in your life. But he had a beer gut. You know, the biggest game in his career was that 81 playoff game against the Dolphins. He said, yeah, before the game, they were like, oh, we got, you know, you have to drink. They're drinking pickle juice in the 80s because it was like 90 degrees with like 80% heat, and players got dehydrated. He said he had a few beers, you know, and And that's that dude he was, man. He just had a few beers and could throw a football better. I mean, he was the prettiest passer, just like pure, like just, it was so much fun to watch. Oh man, I'm telling you, if you don't know who he is, you want to watch some good passing. Like, watch some Dan Fouts clips, man. Oh God. Pride, not even close. Stroud understands how to step up in the pocket and said running back behind the pocket. Dan, where's your drunk? Geez, what is up, brother? Man. Yeah. So I don't do drugs for those of you who are new in here for the first time. He likes to pretend that I am on drugs because I am jacked up. I really am jacked up. Bryce is very mobile. I don't think CJ Stroud is. Mm-mm. We have not talked about Toney going to Kansas City. We haven't talked about Robert Quinn going to Philadelphia. And I was going to zip through the games. And then after I give my predictions, I was going to talk about both because I actually think both trades are kind of a win-win for both teams. And I think the Bears actually get a really big win here. A lot of people don't think that because you get a guy who had 18.5 sacks last year. Well, first of all, they have some young talent. Second, he's only had 1 sack so far this year. And most importantly, you get a guy who's 32 years old making about $19 million. I think it's like $19 million. You get that money off the books. And what do the Bears need? They need a lot of help on offense. So that's how you get it. And that's why I love the move for the Bears. With Philly, they're going all in for a Super Bowl run. And I mean, they're going to have a couple of interesting games coming up, but that NFC East looks like it's going to be a lot of fun. And I'll be honest, man, I think football's better when that NFC East is good. When the Giants and Eagles are good. I really think the NFL is better. I really do. I mean, I'm not a fan of either team, but yeah, I think it's really good. Favre would succeed. Here, it's funny because like a lot of old-time quarterbacks, a lot of people say like Bradshaw would suck in today's game and Namath was overrated. I don't believe that at all. I think all these guys, a lot of these guys that played in the past would be amazing today. I don't know about Fouts. Yes, exactly. He's the John Daly of the NFL, and he was awesome in Waterboy. Dan Fouts is a guy I would love. I don't know if he would succeed in today's game. All right. There's a few players that I'm like, okay, you were great back in the day. You wouldn't succeed in today. Fred Biletnikoff, if you don't know who that is, I don't know if he would be able to play in today's game. I don't know. And you know, you want to say, well, you know, slow, small white boy. Well, Wes Walker, Julian Edelman. I mean, and by the way, yes, he had 3 gallons of stickum on his body at all times, but anybody who played on those Raiders teams will tell you he never dropped a pass. And in practice, he never used to stick him. It was more of a mental thing. He had a lot of weird things. He was also a heavy chain smoker. So like that part of his game wouldn't translate, but you know. Funk, do you prefer Stroud or Young? Well, you know, let me ask you this, Funk. Will Anderson or a quarterback? One Pride 40, I'm betting your Lions. It's only money. Tar Kenyon would succeed. Tar Kenyon, what the fuck? Good with that, Funk. You have a starting quarterback staring you in the face. You take him. All right. Yeah, and that's what I think. Biletnikoff didn't have that quickness. He didn't have that quickness, but he had the best hands in the NFL for like a 30-year stretch. Best hands in the NFL. Steve Largent would succeed in today's NFL. He was very good. It's funny, like if you name top 10 receivers of all time, you probably would leave Steve Largent off that list, but there was a time he had every single receiving record known to man. And I watched him play. He was as good as anybody. He really was. He was really amazing. It was like a Madden cheat code to watch him play. It's hard to believe. Fran Tarkenton would be better in today's game. He really would. Fran Tarkenton was amazing. I loved Fran Tarkenton. One of my old time. There's a couple guys I love watching old time clips on. Tarkenton's one of those guys. Yes, I'm a Chiefs fan. Len Dawson would have been deadly in today's game. He led the NFL in completion percentage for it was 5 straight years or something. It was by a 10-point margin. The average NFL quarterback was throwing 50% complete. Len Dawson was doing 60%, and plus he was mobile. He's a guy. I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on his name. I am so embarrassed. I can't believe I'm drawing a blank. Bart Starr is probably the best quarterback in Packers history. Nobody wants to talk about it. But Cliff, Sunday morning, I'm looking up props and look at Tua's interception, Kirby Jovi's interception are both. Okay. You think, okay, I'm sorry. By the way, I saw that comment and I glossed over it. DraftKings, they do their props later. Do me a favor. I am doing things tomorrow, but if you message me on Twitter, I'll see what I can find out because I don't have an account, but I have an app for PointsBet. I do have DraftKings. My bookie has a lot of prop bets. I know for a fact my bookie will have Tua interception and Kirby. They should have Kirby Joseph interceptions. And they're I imagine Kirby Joseph will be at 0.5. I have no idea what the number is. My guess would probably be, if I did just throw a dart, I would probably say plus 205 for Kirby Joseph. Now for Tua, I'm plus 120, 125, something like that. I would not recommend a Kirby Joseph interception stat, but the Tua interception, I would strongly recommend. You'll probably get a good number. If you message me on Twitter tomorrow, I'll look up different numbers and see what I can find for you. Ken Stabler is one of my all-time favorites. It's actually funny because they're talking anytime Patrick Mahomes plays, they talk about new stats and wins. And the only quarterback that's won more in his first several years in the league's Ken Stabler. I mean, the guy just won. And, nobody scored more than Stabler. Now, as a quarterback, he was also pretty good. So, here's the thing. Stabler today would have the all-time biggest social media of anybody. I think Stabler would just dominate social media. I don't follow a lot of players on social media, but whoever's number one, Stabler would probably double whoever's number one on social media. He would be dating. I don't know who's. I don't follow celebrity news. Is Kim Kardashian still the biggest celebrity in the world? He'd be dating a Kardashian with I don't know who's popular today. I have no idea, but he'd have a girlfriend who was it seriously. Stabler would dominate social media today. It would be it'd just be crazy, and I think Stabler would be awesome in today's game. I really do. I think Stabler is one of those guys play any era. I just think he's just one of those guys. Pride, if you can drop back and stay in the top 5 this year, you're getting a stud. It may well be one of those QBs you want so bad. It'll be listen, we're going to do a ton of draft stuff. So, yeah, the Finns aren't great. Lots of holes. Coach McDermott. Dude, I don't, apparently everybody says the same thing. Everybody loves this kid. But, yeah, I looked at him. I'm I have no idea how but apparently everybody loves this guy. We picked Stafford at 1, but just saying you got a lot of games. You are correct. I think I told you that. And let me all right, let me tell you something. I was a blackjack dealer for years. All right, years. I was probably better at being a blackjack dealer than I was for anything else. I phenomenal blackjack dealer. The worst thing that could happen to you at a blackjack table was your first time is if you win, because you are convinced you're going to do it again and again and again. And I've seen people do stupid shit. I don't know if you ever played blackjack or not. I've seen people never played blackjack before and they do stupid stuff like hit a 14 versus a dealer 6 and get up 7 and think like, oh, I knew it. And I'm glad you won. All right. I'm really, really glad you won. It's not a good bet. Even if it hits, it's not a good bet. All right. I like the Tua bet. I don't like the Joseph bet, but if you hit me up though, I'll look up numbers for you. Yeah, Elvis did score. Yeah. Elvis Stabler's close. Like professional athletes. I mean, they're close. So, but I mean, seriously, Stabler. I'm telling you, Stabler in today's game, like with just social media. I have no idea. I don't really follow I follow no celebrities. I follow a few athletes, not too many, but I'm trying to think, man. I'm trying to think because I would tell you he would be like Mahomes. If Mahomes, been with the same girl since high school. No. Kim. Oh, okay, yeah. Okay, I get it now. He wouldn't date Kim. Okay, who's the biggest celebrity like out there right now? Like Aaron Rodgers was dating Danica Patrick. Tom Brady was dating a supermodel. So, Astros 2's Phillies nothing. The Kardashian curse. Yes. Yeah. Okay. That's what would happen. It would be like seriously, Stabler in today's game would just be huge. Would you trade for Lamar? He's asking you, Funk. Listen, I'm here for you, man. Watch the video below. I give you 3 really good games, and I'm going to tell you the rest of them. I do have the Bears, and I'm going to give the other 2. All right, man. All right. You want to take a bet? Take one where Dan requests his prostitutes to look like Katy Perry or not. Jesus. We got some young ladies in the house, and you have to do this, Keith. By the way, I saw something on social media where Katy Perry's got some weird eye thing, and anyway, she looks amazing. I like guys like McDaniels. I was a jock nerd in school. I'd play and practice, but hang out and play Nintendos and Dungeons and Dragons, Magic, and with my nerd buddies. That's kind of who McDaniels kind of looks like. But apparently he played football. But I mean, he went to Yale. I mean, he's got to be smart to go to Yale. So the umpire in the Phillies game stinks. I maybe. I mean, she's almost 40 now, isn't she? Back in the day, I thought she was just beautiful. I have no idea. She cut her hair, but then the picture I saw, she got that long hair again. But when she cut her hair and dyed it blonde, I was like, no. Kardashians only date black guys. All right. Well, all right. Are you sure? No. I do know one of them was married to that white guy. The white basketball player, Chris Humphries. One of them was. The youngest one? It's Chris Humphries, right? This is the weirdness of this show. We're talking Kardashians. I can tell you this. I've never watched a single episode in my whole life. I can't. This is great though. We were talking Kardashians on Dan Talks Football. Cliff, she's not that great with makeup either. She seems plain on every level. All right, back to football. Carolina at Atlanta. Atlanta is a 4.5-point favorite. I actually like Atlanta in this game. I think Atlanta is now the best team in the NFC South. It feels so weird to say that. Marcus Mariota not throwing the ball a lot, doesn't need to. It's crazy. It was Kim. Okay, so Kim was married to Chris Humphreys, and he was a white guy. So we debunked that. So, Hey Girl TV, I have done a couple hundred live streams. I promise you, we have never talked Kardashians. We never know what the direction of the show is going to go into. I just literally turn on the camera and I go. Whatever the comments are, I always tell people, if you have a question, I answer your question and I answer it live. Anything goes on live stream. Today, it's Kardashians. I never would have pictured that. I seriously could. I have a couple different notebooks here, and I could have written down the topics. We had a show where we went off on movies, songs. I think those are the movie one was actually a great show. We actually went off on movies for a while, but we've never talked Kardashians. So this is a breaking event here on Dan Talks Football. We are talking Kardashians. So that's pretty awesome. I saw her without any makeup. She was scary. I can honestly say I have no idea. I have no idea. But Cliff in Florida hangs out with movie stars. So that's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. And you got your wrench back. So for football, no, we're gonna stick with Kardashian. Did she married Kanye? Yeah. Okay, so Kim, see Kim did like they do mess with. So if Ken Stabler was here, here's my point. If Ken Stabler was playing in today's game, if he was alive, he would be the biggest superstar in the NFL. He would be married to the most popular woman in the world. He'd probably have a girlfriend on the side. It would just be no limit to how cool Ken Stabler would be. So that was kind of my point. Tennessee at Houston. The line is now 3. I put action on Tennessee at 2.5. I think Tennessee is going to end up winning the AFC South. I think the Colts, when they switch to the new quarterback, I think they're kind of waving the white flag. There could be, like I mentioned in Detroit, they put in the atom bomb, everybody gets fired. This could happen in Indianapolis. I'm going to talk about that here in a little bit, but I think Tennessee's the team to beat. As long as Derrick Henry's healthy, they're the team to beat. They had some injuries earlier, but you still got Jeffrey Simmons, maybe the best interior lineman, not named Aaron Donald. I want to say Chris Jones, but I'm trying to be a little unbiased. This guy's just a monster. Houston is just not finding any ways to win. So I really like Tennessee. I got 2.5. It's now at 3. You may be able to, I'm using DraftKings, so you may be able to look around and get 2.5 like I did earlier, but that's the number that I got. That is another game I bet on. Finally, the third and final game I bet on, New York Giants at Seattle Seahawks. The Seattle Seahawks are a 3-point favorite because the Giants are an underdog every single week. They seem to thrive on it. I don't have faith in either one of these teams, to be honest with you. These are two teams. Of course, the Giants are fighting for the NFC East. Of course, the Eagles undefeated. The Seahawks are on top of the NFC West. It's funny because San Francisco and the Rams are going to play one of those. There's a very good chance, even with a loss, Seattle could still be on top of that lead. So I don't believe in either one of these teams. All right. I took the Giants in 3 points. I like the way the Giants are playing. I think the Giants have a better defense as long as Saquon Barkley is healthy. As long as Barkley is healthy, they're going to be pretty good. All right. But sooner or later, Barkley is going to get injured. That's just kind of the way it is. Kenneth Walker, by the way, one pride, he is playing lights out. Just amazing. I am hopeful that this game's on. Excuse me. Hopefully this game's going to be on TV because it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. Next game, Washington at the Colts. Colts are 2.5-point favorite. I didn't bet on this game, but this is the game that I should have mentioned that I was going to go ahead and watch out for because I may put action on this one. I love Washington right now. Washington's won 2 in a row. I think Indianapolis is kind of in scramble mode. The reason why I didn't put action on this game is because when you have a new quarterback, what are they going to do? He's not really athletic, but he's more mobile than Ryan. Are they going to use him on direct runs? Are they going to do some bootlegs? Or going to do some rollouts? How much of the offense are they going to change with the Colts? Or is Jonathan Taylor just getting 40 touches? It sounds like I'm joking around, but he might get 40 touches. They may put him at quarterback. I'm like a wildcat. That could happen, and Washington's defense has not been great. Chase Young does come back. Tyler Henneke adds something. I like Washington here. I think Washington wins this game. I know it's on the road. I know the Colts probably are the better team. I like Washington here. We got a young lady in the house, and you do this one prize. This is good, though. I'm not reading that. That's a good one. I'm predicting Reich will be in the Broncos. You know, that's a good one, Denver Gator. Denver Gator, bookmark this because I it's funny. I talked with Cody Rourke. He's on the Locked On Network. He does Locked On Broncos, and I put a message in. I was like, what do you think about Eric Bieniemy? Because that's who I think is going to be the Broncos head coach. I think it's going to be Eric Bieniemy. But Reich, that whole organization with the Colts could be just doing a bomb sale. I mean, like everybody could go. Fire sale, I'm sorry. Everybody could go. Everybody goes. Reich is good enough to be a NFL head coach if he does get fired. And Denver's one of the better organizations. So that's kind of what I see. That actually makes a lot of sense. I'm predicting right now it's going to be Eric Bieniemy, but we have a lot of time. Pacquiao is going to take Edward Hilaire's job really soon. Okay, so the guy that you really want to talk to is this guy because on his show, which by the way, Keys is doing a show Saturday night. By the way, Keys, I'm like 95% sure I can make. I have to do some things Saturday. All right. I have some things I have to take care of Saturday. I'm almost positive I can make it, but Keys has a show. I don't even know the topics conversation we're going to talk on. Last time I was there, it's like, we're just going to wing it. And all right, we're just going to wing it. I don't know if we're going to talk Chiefs. I don't know if we're going to talk NFL. I have no idea if we're going to talk music, politics, philosophy. I have no idea. Anyway, on his show, one of his co-hosts has been talking about Pacquiao, I want to say since July. And I was kind of on the fence, and then I kept watching him during preseason. I'm like, dude, he just looks faster, and he's bigger, and he's good in pass protection. Like, what is there not to like about this guy? And by the way, there's a lot of teams that if you have a 7th round pick. All right, I'm going to tell you something, and you're not going to believe that this is true. There's a lot of teams, if you have a 7th round pick and you have a 1st round pick, the 1st round pick's always going to play because he's a 1st round pick. There's a lot of teams in the NFL that really don't care. I'll give credit. The Seattle Seahawks really don't care. You can be a 1st round pick. You can be an undrafted free agent. They just play best player. In the NFL, these things kind of matter. It looks like, because I'm going to tell you something right now. Pacquiao was a 1st round pick, and Edward Hilaire was a 7th round pick. Pacquiao would be the starter. All right. I'm just telling you that right now. But I mean, the Chiefs also had a 6th round rookie take over for LDT, Ludene, and he had like a buttload of money, but of course he was sitting out. That was kind of a special situation. But if Pacquiao was a 1st round pick and Edward Hilaire was a 7th round pick, Pacquiao would be starting. A lot of people feel like this is just a matter of time. I've been holding off because I know Andy Reid loves Edwards-Helaire. Right? Absolutely loves this guy. And I think he gets kind of a bad rap in Kansas City, but Pacquiao looks faster. He can catch the ball. He's bigger, and he can block. I mean, there's nothing really like the Chiefs don't use like they don't have a running back. They don't have anybody like Dalvin Cook or Jonathan Taylor. They don't have a running back who's like, hey, you're going to get 25 touches. They don't have that guy. And I think Andy Reid likes that. He'd rather have a committee of guys. But it kind of looks like Pacquiao is better than Edwards-Helaire. So, yeah. He's very impressive. He is. And by the way, if you watch Key's show, and it's not there. I don't have it in the description, but me and Keys, he asked me if I would come on, and they're like, we're like in a group chat. And like I said, I'm like 95% sure I'll be there. His co-host has been talking about Pacquiao being the starting running back, I want to say since July. And you have to quote me if I'm wrong. And you've been very high on him as well, I believe. Who said he was king to be a ball? Who said he was king? I bought Halloween candy if I gave it out, but I freaking... Well, you got 3 days, brother. Oh, hush it, one Prada Vito, any sound moves by. Okay. On my live stream, I preach you. If you have a question, I have an answer. I answer you live. Anything goes. It's always this way, and I mean it. Anything goes. We talk about anything. We've never talked Kardashians. It's not our normal conversation, but it does. Anything does go, and I'm glad you're here. I'm glad you enjoy it. If Taylor runs more than 30 plus, that's absolutely a white flag, just setting him up for long-term injury. Here's the thing. I seriously think that you have to realize that they're trying to make the playoffs. I mean, they're not that far back in this division. And seriously, that's what you might have to do this week. You might have to run them 30 plus times. And by the way, he did look healthy last week. He didn't have a great game, but he did look healthy. I don't know the numbers off the top of my head. I want to say he had about 20 touches, though. Dude, me and you defended him. All right, I got lost. It's Colts having fire sales. Chris Ballard come back to the Chiefs only if he comes back to Kansas City if he doesn't get another general manager job, and he's wide respected enough in the NFL to get another general manager job. But his job's in jeopardy. I mean, it's big time in jeopardy. You give a first-round pick for Carson Wentz, he's gone. Second-round pick for Matt Ryan, he's on the bench. I mean, you can't do things like this. And there was, the last couple of years they were supposed to make playoffs, they didn't. Now keep in mind, Keys, I was born in Baltimore, and when the Irsay family moved from Baltimore to Indianapolis, there was not a least popular family in the city of Baltimore. So I don't have a lot of love for the Irsay owner, but they've done some creative things in history. So if they end up being like 7-10, and the quarterback position's a disaster, or worse yet, what happens if Ellinger gets hurt? There's so many things that could go wrong here. But does Ballard come back to the Chiefs? Only if he doesn't get another general manager position. And I think there's going to be a handful of jobs that are going to be open at the end of the season. I mentioned Detroit a handful of times. I firmly think everybody could go in Detroit. Chris Ballard, if you're looking for a general manager, you have to at least interview Chris Ballard. I think you have to. Could he come back to Kansas City? Absolutely. I'm trying to think off the top of my head who general manager positions that may be available. It's a long season, but would he want to come back to Kansas City? Absolutely he would. Number one, a lot of people don't realize this, but Clark Hunt, the owner of Kansas City Chiefs, is one of the richest owners in the NFL. A lot of people don't realize that. The coaching staff and executives in Kansas City get paid well above the league average. A lot of people don't realize that. That coming to Kansas City is a kind of a big deal. kind of a big deal. You get paid more in Kansas City than you do other places as a general rule of thumb. So, if the Colts do a fire sale, dude. Yeah, Buckner is one of my all-time favorite players. But, you guys, here's the deal. You got Kwity Paye. He's playing defensive end, but he's a guy that I thought was better suited as a 3-4 outside linebacker. That's a guy that could be really, really good. They got some good talent at receiver. I can't believe I forgot his name. Quentin Nelson, seriously, there's a lot of really good players on that Colts. A lot of good players. By the way, Buckner would be awesome in Detroit. That fits because he's a guy. He can play in a 3-4. He can play in a 4-3. He's big. He's strong. He's fast. He stuffs to run. He gets after the passer. I mean, I've loved this guy ever since he came out of Oregon. One of my favorite players in the league. Seriously, like a guy like that would work perfectly in Detroit. Yeah, I got you. That's a guy. That's a guy I have a hard time believing moves, but you never know, man. The reason why he wouldn't move this year is because I think he's going to play. Okay, here's what I heard: he's going to play, but it's going to be on a pitch count. So. Peyton not interested in Denver. Another prediction is San Francisco misses the playoff and Denver pays Shanny to bring Struckworth. That's definitely me and you talked about this. I think Shanahan and Lynch, that would be an interesting pair, especially after all those draft picks from McCaffrey. If that doesn't pan out and they don't make the playoffs, those are two guys that could be gone. Shanahan, I don't see how. If Shanahan's fired by San Francisco and Denver continues to self-destruct, I have no idea how Shanahan doesn't end up back in Denver. I'm trying to think if he ever coached in Denver. I know he coached in Washington and Atlanta. For those of you who don't know, his dad coached the Denver Broncos for several years and won a couple Super Bowls. So. With some guy named John. I can't think of who his last name was. Overrated quarterback. You have a better chance. You're a true slasher, man. Welcome to a party, brother. Welcome to a party, man. Let me ask you this. Do you cover 10.5 versus Pittsburgh? So. Finns played a higher pick. Yeah. Miami does. Miami, seriously, if Pacquiao was a first-round pick and CEH was a seventh-round pick, Pacquiao would be the pick. But Andy Reid really loves CEH. Holy shit. I don't follow baseball, so I'm assuming this is the playoffs. So, a Gooch drafted Pacquiao in our fantasy league, and I gave him a hard time, but he told me he'll be the starter by the bye week. But yeah, he's been on him since the draft. Pacquiao said, yeah, you know what? I knew about him because I actually watched him play at Rutgers, and I was like, he'll make the team because he can do everything. I mean, he returned punts and kicks. He's a big dude. He can catch the ball. I didn't know he was as fast as he was because when I watched him at Rutgers, he didn't play like he was the fastest running back in the draft, but he ended up having the fastest time or tied for the fastest time. And he didn't seem like he would be this good. I mean, he didn't play that way at Rutgers. He really didn't. But he was a guy that does a little bit of everything. Andy Reid loves those guys. So I was like, he's seventh round pick. He's going to make the team. He's going to contribute. He'll maybe play a handful of snaps. I had no idea he was going to be this good. I had no idea it was going to be this good. And it sounds like I'm a lot higher on CEH than you guys are. And by the way, he said that he came to town. He goes, I'm here to take a grown man's job. And he's actually done it. The man he's taken is Ronald Jones. That's the guy who I thought would play a lot more, and he's on the Chiefs roster. He's just been inactive. So, One Pride 40 says I had a few drinks, but I'm pretty sure I said Walker was going to be a baller. Okay, that's what you said. Okay, all right. BYU 17. Ooh, that's an interesting game. So somebody, you tell me, Cliff, and holy shit, you're from Kansas City. I had no idea. Yeah. Okay. So you know where Overland Park is. That's where I live. I live in Overland Park. Wow. Cliff and Denver Gator. Apparently, this BYU quarterback who replaced Zach Wilson is getting some hype. Maybe not as a first rounder, second, third rounder. You guys are gonna have to tell me about him. Edibles. Oh, I'm serious. I'm telling you right now, if Andrew Luck, I don't care what he's doing. He could be like a professional fisherman. He could be camping somewhere, writing fan fiction. I don't know what he's doing, but I guarantee you, if he just drove to the Colts building and said like, "Hey, can I play?" he would start. I predicted he would come back to the NFL in a couple years, and he hasn't. I have no idea what he's doing. I have no idea what he's doing, but I guarantee you, if he just drove up to the Courts organization, he could start today. Oh no! Oh no! Oh wow! I'm 98% sure about this. He was the head coach of Georgia in the 80s with Herschel Walker. When they won the national championship. I think I think all 3 years Herschel Walker was there. That's another topic of conversation. Herschel Walker, probably the greatest college player of all time. Debatable. We have Dorsey. All right. If you clean house and you fire the general manager, I don't think you keep Dorsey around. I think Holmes was brought in. Holmes and Dorsey will be like kind of side by side. So I have no idea how that's going to work out. By the way, if you see anything like, I'm not even going to show this, but if you see anything like this for you mods, just block it. You guys see it. I don't do shit like that. That's a no-go. Mods, if you see anything like I just deleted, get rid of it. I don't tolerate any of that stuff. So yeah. Okay. Giving her, it's her first time here, and you're giving her a hard time. I had no idea you're from Kansas City. Yeah, I live in Overland Park. I know he's going to play this week. I didn't know he practiced all week, but I do know he's going to play. Yeah, I know. I have no sense of humor about this at all. Anytime something like that comes in for you, if you guys that got the wrenches, please delete it. No sense of humor about that. Just it doesn't belong here. It like we can talk about anything goes. Not promoting sex bots. So, Cliff, or your recommendation? Cliff, why not? For those, okay. So hey, girl. Cliff lives in Florida. He is a retired millionaire who just travels all around the states and visits all the stadiums because he went to an FAU game, which I'm super jealous. I'd love to see FAU, but yeah. So that cracks me up. But yeah, I know, man. I know. Okay. All right, this is a game that the line's been dropping. San Francisco at the LA Rams. Rams are now a 1-point home dog. The 49ers have won 7 straight against the Rams. And here's the deal. When I watched them play earlier in the season, the Rams have no answer for this pass rush. And I really think that after losing the Kansas City, they had a bye, like, they're going to be ready for this game. I love San Francisco in this game. I keep waiting for the Rams to like step up and do better, but you can't do anything when you don't have the players on the offensive line. You can't do anything. There's nothing that you can do. So it was funny. Me and Denver Gator were talking. I was like, man, I'd love to go down to Florida. If I ever go down to Florida, Cliff, I'm going to hit you up, and we need to go to like an FAU game. All right, I've never, okay, so I've driven through Florida. I've never really had a chance to visit, but I've heard Boca Raton's awesome. My buddy used to go to, it's Northern Florida. Oh crap. It's something. like Paradise Beach or something like that. Denver Gator. If I said the name of it, you would know it. But anyway, I want to do. I need to do like some traveling to Florida. So yeah. And I'm so jealous. Yeah. So there it is. Sunday night football this is an underrated game, folks. This is an underrated game, it's one I'm like this close to putting money on. If I win if I'm 2-1 or I hit some in-game bets, I'm probably going to go ahead and take action on this one. I've been stalling. But you got Green Bay traveling to Buffalo. Green Bay's an 11-point dog. I like Green Bay to cover. This is one of those crazy games that I think Green Bay could sneak a win. I really do. I think it's one of those crazy games. However, the offensive line's banged up. You got Von Miller. It could be one of those games that's just a disaster. It could be one of those games that ends up being like 42-3. Because the way Green Bay's played, they've played like a terrible team. But they've won 13 games the last 3 years. All right. Is this the game where they get everything together? I really thought it would be last week. I was positive they were going to beat Washington. They didn't get it together. Do they get it together now? Because by the way, Green Bay's defense is pretty good. The problem is on offense, they look terrible, and they have so many offensive line injuries. That's kind of why I can't pull the trigger, because you have a banged up offensive line, a really good defensive front. So we're going to see how things go. But there's a good chance I take Green Bay to cover 11. Finally, Monday Night Football on Halloween. This is going to be a good game. You may not like either one of these teams, but this is going to be a good game. Cincinnati is traveling to Cleveland, Battle of Ohio. Cleveland is a 3-point home dog at home, and it looks like they're kind of falling apart. Here's the thing. I really think that because of the Watson trade and all the guaranteed money and the big suspension, there's a chance there could be some people fired. All right, there is a good chance people could get fired. They're 2-5. Cincinnati's 4-3. Cincinnati has a chance to really turn their whole season around. Jamar Chase isn't going to play. All right, Jamar Chase is out. If Cincinnati wins this game and Cleveland loses, Cleveland might have to just write off this whole season. They may want to have a fire sale. You could get a coach. You could get a general manager. You could get some crazy. I mean, Cleveland's not a stable franchise. So let's be honest. Cincinnati, on the other hand, has a chance to put themselves in position to get to the playoffs, right? I mean, yeah, Chase is going to be out for a couple of weeks, but if he's healthy during the playoffs, I mean, you got to be careful because, I mean, Joe Mixon, I've been telling people for a long time, Joe Mixon's a guy that, he's an MVP candidate. I mean, he's really good. I don't think he's as good as Chase, but I mean, this guy's really good. I mean, he could carry the team. Burrow is I mean, last week he was putting up video game numbers against Atlanta, a team I thought had good defense. Now, AJ Terrell was out, so take that with a grain of salt. I mean, he doesn't put up those numbers with AJ Terrell in the game, but Cleveland's defense is not good. All right. This is my upset pick. Cleveland wins this one. Nick Chubb goes ballistic. 175 and 3 touchdowns. No, I don't know about that, but I think Nick Chubb has a big game. I think Cleveland just runs the ball. I think that they're going to kind of rally the wagons. I think Cleveland's going to be kind of crazy and spooky for Halloween. And I think without Jamar Chase, you may have some problems. So in an upset pick, one I'm not betting on. Cleveland Browns covers 3 because they went outright. And that's it. Now I'm going to give you a public service announcement. Hey girl, the difference between me and a lot of other people is I put my money where my mouth is, actually bet on games. I've had a bad year so far. However, I don't give a lot of this is gambling advice you definitely want to take. I don't recommend betting on your own team. I don't recommend doing it. However, Andy Reid is something crazy. It's like 19-3 after a bye. All right. It's something insane. Somebody have to look it up, but it's like the best record after a bye in NFL history. Andy Reid and the Chiefs have a bye this week. Next week, they're going to play Tennessee, which I think is going to beat Houston. It's going to be in Tennessee. The line's probably going to be 2.5 or 3. You definitely want to take Kansas City. You could do money line, but Andy Reid after a bye is the best coach in NFL history. They have a bye this week, so that's my public service announcement. I had no idea she was from Kansas City. So anyway, we met, and I'm not going to give details out about how we met, which is, if you want to, hey girl, you can. But anyway, so I follow her on social media, and I thought on her social media she said she was from Dallas. So I thought you were from Dallas. So, but anyway, she has a YouTube channel. If you guys don't mind, please subscribe to her channel. She is really awesome. Hey girl, all jokes aside, Chiefs or maybe Bills would be great teams to start rooting for. I'd say the Broncos, but I wouldn't put that. Mahomes and wide receivers playing a bunch of Call of Duty during the bye going to have much improved. You know, one thing I saw, and you probably saw the same thing, was that there was a picture on social media. They gave Toney number 19, which I thought was kind of cool. And they had a picture of him and Mahomes together. And Ryan Leaf had this great, I'm not associated with PointsBet, but Ryan Leaf joined PointsBet, and he's been amazing on it. I love listening to Ryan Leaf. And he had a good point about how receivers with an attitude behave differently among a quarterback, like who's on the fence, kind of like with Daniel Jones. Like, hey, this guy's just a guy. But a superstar quarterback, they're going to be completely different around. So how he's going to behave around Mahomes may be completely different than how he's going to behave around Daniel Jones. And I was like, that's a good point. So he's in Kansas City for one day. What's he do? He gets on social media with Mahomes. Big deal. I don't know if they're playing Call of Duty together, but I thought it was smart because he had some issues in New York with maturity, injuries, getting along with people. Like he didn't play his like he didn't want to pick up his playbook for some weird reason. And so he got behind the learning curve on the offense and complained about not playing. And I'm kind of wondering if he's going to have those same issues with a superstar like Mahomes. So, all right, I'm going with the Chiefs. Raised in California, living in Surprise, Arizona. That is awesome. That is awesome. I've never been to California. I've been to Vegas several times, and the last time I drove to Vegas, I took the weird route where I drove down south, and I think it's I-10 through New Mexico, cut all the way through Arizona, because I love the Southwest. I absolutely love the Southwest. I actually, to tell you the truth, I was thinking if I move. I was thinking about moving to Vegas, and if I don't move to Vegas, I wouldn't mind living in that surrounding area or New Mexico. But anyway, that whole area is just gorgeous. I've never been to California. I don't know if I would like it, but the Arizona, New Mexico, Nevada, I could see myself moving there in the next couple of years. Denver Gator Russ makes me really want to go hard on the Broncos at the same time, go easy on Broncos. I'm serious. I'm serious. If you're on social media like I am, I have seen about 100 different memes about Russell Wilson and what he's doing on the plane. It's just there is not a more hated person on the internet right now than Russell Wilson. It's kind of sad because I don't think he's a bad guy, but he cannot do anything right now. And I tried warning Denver fans. It's look, this is like a square. For those of you that don't know, the Broncos organization really messed up. So what the Broncos organization did was they hired Nathaniel Hackett, because they thought in hiring Hackett, because Aaron Rodgers was so public in support for him, that if they brought in Hackett, they would get Rodgers. When Rodgers re-signed with Green Bay, they had to take the next best option, which happened to be Russell Wilson. They completely ignored that Russell Wilson's game and Aaron Rodgers' game is not the same thing. It's not the same thing. So it's like putting a square peg through a round hole. And then this offseason, everybody was raving about Russell Wilson because he's going out everywhere and he's doing all these things. And it's like, this isn't this, like, the more and more I saw, like, the more of it looked bad and worse and worse and worse, because when Russell Wilson's at his best, it was with a great defense and a great running game. And he was just part of the cog. He wasn't the one driving the ship. He was just kind of along for the ride. All right, that 48-3 Super Bowl win that he was a part of, when you shut down statistically the greatest offense in NFL history to 8 points, you didn't win because of you. By the way, KJ Wright was the Super Bowl MVP that day. I'm pretty sure it was KJ Wright. I'd almost bet money it was KJ Wright, but I couldn't be wrong about that. But it you know, that's the team that Denver needed to build, but they didn't do that. I think Hackett is definitely on a hot seat. This is a big game. London's a big game. So Hatter's House 710. What's up, brother? Go Lions, go UCLA. Oh God, you know what? I had that. They lost to Oregon. Am I correct? I know they played Oregon. I don't know if they won or lost. That's, by the way, I didn't even talk about this, but Chip Kelly, for those of you who don't remember, he took over a few games in the NFL. He's now at UCLA and he's doing a phenomenal job. He's doing a phenomenal job. And I'm kind of curious if he wants to go either back to the NFL or to a different job, because UCLA after this year's joining the Big Ten, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. It's a weird as hell. USC and UCLA joining the Big Ten is going to be weird. Of course, Oklahoma and Texas are joining the SEC. It's just a different age in college sports. But I'm wondering if Chip Kelly wants to stay at UCLA because he's doing an A+ job, or if he's going to take an SEC job. What was it, Denver Gator? You said Auburn's available? That's going to be very interesting. So when UCLA does better and better, I'm kind of wondering, is Chip Kelly entering those conversations? Do you want to consider a guy like Chip Kelly who's unsuccessful with 2 NFL teams? Would you want to give him a third shot in the NFL? I don't think so, but I've heard little rumors. But anyway. Grandmother of 2 with 2 grown children, 29, 26. My loves. Yes. I have some football 101 videos. I meant to do one this week. I did not get around to it, but if you go on my YouTube channel, I have some 101 videos. I've only made 2 so far. You can check those out. I'm going to do like an NFL history show. I don't exactly know when, but I do some football betting 101. I have no idea. I mean, if you're in Arizona, you can easily go to Nevada. So I know it's like you're probably close to sports betting. If you do sports betting, I have some 101 videos for that as well. But I do have some football 101 videos that you should check out. They're relatively short and it gives you kind of general information. And I'm going to come out with another one here very, very soon. So I am super glad that you're here. It isn't because he's a Bronco. He's so cheesy. I question the sincerity. I remember he had this video when he was in Seattle, and this girl was in the hospital, and she made him a duct tape wallet, and he said, "Oh, this is my wallet. I carry it everywhere I go." And I'm like, I'm pretty sure you don't. I'm pretty sure Russell Wilson doesn't carry around a duct tape wallet. Like you could kind of like tell he was just kind of like, "Hey, I'm saying this. It sounds good." And then, the girl ended up making these duct tape wallets, and she was selling them for charity. And it's a good story. But the whole time he's saying it, I'm like, I would bet my left arm that you don't have a duct tape wallet. And by the way, it looked really cool, to be honest. Like to be honest, if she was battling cancer or something like that. She was like 8 or 9 years old. It was a great story. And, if a girl who had cancer, a young girl who had cancer, made me a wallet out of duct tape. And by the way, it looked really cool. I mean, it was all Seattle colors. I mean, it'd have to be Chiefs colors or black. I wear a lot of black, in case you haven't noticed. Yeah, matter of fact, I do need a new wallet. So, but the whole time he's doing this, I'm like, nah, I'm pretty sure you don't really carry that wallet everywhere you go. So I find him to be kind of insincere. And then also there was a lot over the last couple of years, there's a lot of talk about like he just does his own thing. And Pete Carroll's like, hey, let's get on board. Let's team. And with the success Seattle's having, it's looking like, a lot of like Russell Wilson, his story, the first couple of years of his career is as good as anybody. Here's a 3rd round pick that nobody was going to take in the 3rd round except for Pete Carroll. Pete Carroll said what is he? 5'9", 5'10", 5'11", whatever. He's under 6 foot. And I remember watching him. I'm like, dude, if this dude was 6'2", he'd be the first player chosen in the draft. And nobody was going to take this guy. Pete Carroll said, I'll give him a shot. They signed Matt Flynn to a big free agent deal. They had his 3rd round rookie. And what they did is that he's like, I don't know, because both these guys look good. This Russell Wilson guy, I know he's short. I know he's a rookie. I know we got a lot of money invested in the free agent, but I'm just going to play the best guy. And Russell Wilson, that 3rd preseason game, ended up being the best guy, and he went with it. It was a big deal. It was a crazy decision. And for years, he played a lot like Ben Roethlisberger played at the beginning of his career. Good defense, a good running game. You throw maybe 15, 20 times a game. You try to just make a few plays with your legs. You don't make any mistakes. And then after time, you want to be a bigger and bigger and bigger part of the team. And I think that his ego just got in the way of what made him successful. And like, if you could just get him to like, hey, I'm just going to be a wheel in the cog. I don't have to be the biggest wheel. I don't have to be the main guy. I don't have to have the spotlight. Then he could be good. But I don't think that's him. I think he wants to be the guy who everything surrounds him. I think he's got to be a guy like, I have to be the guy. And if he goes back and like, hey, I'm going to hand the ball off. I'm going to let other guys be the stars. Then I think he would have some success. But they'll have Russ cook or whatever you want to call it. Like it's not working. It's not working. I'm so over to hate memes on Russell, ridiculous, stupid shit. Yeah, we're struggling, but damn, enough's enough. Everyone jumping on Russ. He's not the one in front. You are right. I mean, he's not a bad guy. I just think he's an egotistical guy, and if he keeps his ego in check, then I think they have a chance. This is a big game because they're playing a Jacksonville. Bingo. Okay, see, here's the deal. Since he married Sierra, he thinks he's the star, but when he was that 3rd round rookie who was doing all this extra work, ordering pizza at the facility, that's what made him a great player. Then he gets married and all the other things. Some people can't handle success. And that, we were talking earlier about, Brady, didn't he divorce his pregnant girlfriend, married a supermodel? Like, yeah. Yeah, I mean, anyway, okay, I feel like ranted enough. But see, the bottom line, Jacksonville, Denver, London, that's a big game because the loser needs to really look towards next year. Denver may be looking at next year already. Hackett loses that game. Let's take a look. When do the Broncos have a bye? When do the Broncos have a bye? Because you could be looking at Denver firing their head coach. And that's rare. Yeah, they have a bye right afterwards. By the way, I don't even know. I know Sierra's famous. I don't know who she is. Like, I know he married somebody famous. I think she's a singer. Model? You guys tell me. Anyway, there is a chance if Denver, you know what? I would love to know the gossip. I'm glad we got you here. So you know the gossip. You can share it with everybody in here, because I think that ever since he married Sierra, I think his game's deteriorated because he's got a big head. Because that's what happened in Seattle. When he was in Seattle last couple of years, he didn't want to listen to Carroll. He wanted the game to be all about him. He wanted to let Russ cook, and it's affected him. Bye after London, Hackett. Now, you know what? I'm not so sure, Denver Gator. I'm not so sure. I think a 2-6. Is that what is that right? 2-6. I think it enters the realm of possibility, because there was so much hype on Denver at the beginning. Yeah, it'd be 2-6. There was so much hype that you could see it. I think it's a possibility. If they lose big, then I think it's serious. Okay, a famous R&B singer. Okay, all right. But the answer, I think there is a possibility, Denver Gator. If you had to give me a number, let's say you lose bad, like 37-7. All right, I would say the odds are like 15%, but it's possible. If Denver wins, forget about it. But I mean, seriously, 2-6. You know, off the top of my head, the coaching staff's relatively inexperienced with Denver, so I don't even know who would take over. I know who would take over. It would be Dom Capers or Clint Kubiak. No, Clint Kubiak. No, it might be Clint Kubiak. It'd be Clint. Okay, so Dom Capers and Clint Kubiak. So right now, Dom Capers would probably be the interim head coach, and that may not be a bad decision. Because Elardo Avero, I don't know. I know the offensive coordinator, so yeah. And she's hot right now. He's got to try and keep up. He better keep. So she's famous, and she's old school famous. So she's hot right now. You know, seriously, that may explain some things. But to say that Hackett's not going to go anywhere, I don't agree with that at all. I think there's a small chance that he would get fired. And here's the deal, under the old ownership of Denver, that would never have happened. Pat Bowlen wouldn't do that. But with Walmart running the ship now, I think I don't know what's going on with the ownership program. And Pat Bowlen would never do this. But with the new ownership, they may look at it and go, yeah, we got to make a change. We'll put Dom Capers in there. I mean, I've seen weirder things. I'll be honest. The Denver Broncos organization, since I've been in Kansas City and since I've been following football, is one of the classiest, best-run organizations in the National Football League. Pat Bowlen just got into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, I think just a few years ago, one of the worst injustices in the National Football League. I mean, he should have been in the 90s. Like, it's ridiculous how long he meant more to the NFL than probably, like, I don't know, maybe 15 people, maybe. So, but yeah, at 2-6, there's a possibility that he flies home and gets fired. Definite possibility. And I had no idea that she's a like, I was under the impression like she was a retired model or something. So if she's hot right now, that may explain like some of his behavior, because like he did like seriously, he took her during the offseason. It was like they were at hospitals, they were at Nuggets games, or at baseball games. They were doing like everywhere. And I thought she was retired. I mean, again, I don't know. So, all right. So listen, I've been on for about an hour 50. My energy drink is almost depleted. Oh man, what a great show. I can't believe we actually talked Kardashians. I didn't mention it, but I need to do it more often. If this is your first time here, please like the video on your way in. Do hit that subscribe button. It really helps me out. And share. YouTube's kind of weird with the subscribers. Like sometimes you get some subscribers and then sometimes you don't get some subscribers. But I've been trying really hard to get to 800 and I just went blurry. All right. Sorry. There it is. So anyway, I've been trying real hard to get to 800. Yesterday, I hit 801. So I'm super excited about that. And I want to give you guys thanks. I really appreciate every single one of you coming in here and helping me do my favorite thing in the whole world, and that's talking football. I mean, I love doing this, but it's well, I can sit here and I can talk football all by myself. I can literally spend 10 minutes on all 32 teams, which is 320 minutes, which is about 5.5 hours. I can do that. It's much more fun when I can engage with people, have a back and forth. And I want to hear people's opinions are different than mine. Like Cliff, for example, thinks that Josh Allen and Joe Burrow are better than Patrick Mahomes. I don't agree with that, but in this channel, it's never going to be an echo chamber. I want everybody to disagree with me at any point in time. Me and Denver Gator disagree here. I think there's like a 10 to 15% chance if Denver gets blown out that he could be fired. And Denver Gator says no. Denver Gator also recommends betting your life savings on Georgia this week. So, by the way, check out me and Denver Gator's video. It's a good one. It's a good one. Denver Gator has 4 college games plus his 3 picks. I got my 3 picks I shared with you today. And let me see here. Yeah, she's amazing. I had no idea. She's a hot singer. I had no idea. That's how bad I am. That is how bad I am. Denver Gator won Pride and Funk like Katy Perry. So I don't know. Can't wait for another. I'm on live every Tuesday and every Friday on the live stream. Anything goes. All questions are answered live. And at over 150 here, I'm running out of gas here. So I'm going to wrap things up unless anybody has anything. By the way, check out me and Denver Gator's video. Drop a comment on that video. And after I end the live stream, if you don't mind, go back and send another comment. It really helps me out. By the way, thank you everybody who subscribed. Tuesdays and Fridays, baby. Tuesday and Fridays. All right, guys, have a good weekend. Oh, Funk, if you're still listening, send me a DM. I'm going to try to get you those numbers. Best of luck this weekend, everybody. I'll see you back on Tuesday.